Hello everyone! The final from the quest for the Cradle is finally here. We know everyone's excited for this one. Before we go further, on March 5th we will be hosting our next event at the VIP Executive Zurich Hotel in Lisbon for a chance to win a Badlands, a Mana Crypt, a Kraum and a Corpse Dance. The venue will be open to the general public and we can't wait to say hello to the community. We will have vendors, a new and improved venue, rooms for players and many giveaways. A big thanks to our patrons and subscribers, you're the biggest reason we keep improving our tournaments. If you would like to support us as well, click that like button and subscribe. Now let's hit the final. Playing today we have KK piloting Tymna Kraum Blue Farm, a deck that focuses on quickly assembling one card combo enablers like Ad Nauseam or Intuition to be the first to win the game. Enrique playing Anje Falconwrath, a proactive deck that focuses on the Madness ability and its commanders to filter through his deck to find and assemble a World Gorgeous Dragon combo line. Gambas piloting Koll the Forge Master, a mid-range deck that seeks to create infinite dying triggers taking advantage of cards such as Altar of Dementia and Blasting Station to kill its opponents. And Fabio piloting Krark Sakashima, a mid-range storm deck that takes advantage of clone effects on Krark, turning his trigger's ability into an engine to copy and reuse his spells until he finds and lands a win con at the table. KK kept a defensive hand with 3 lands, a Kraum to attempt a third one Dranit's Magistrate, a Snapback for interaction and an Enlightened Tutor to fetch for a combo piece. After his first mulligan, Enrique kept on his hand the City of Brass, a Badlands and a Sandstone Needle for lands, a Tainted Pack to tutor for a combo piece, a Psychotic Haze, a Big Game Hunter and a Shadow of the Grave to dump on Anje's ability. Gambas kept on his hands a Plains, a Sacred Foundry and a Mana Confluence for lands, a Mox Diamond to attempt a turn 1 Koll, a Pyroblast for interaction, a Storm Rider Rig and a Shield Sphere. Fabio had to mulligan 3 times and kept a hand with a Mana Confluence and a Training Center, a Force of Will for interaction, a Variant Voice of Duality and a Ristic Study for card advantage. Since Gambas was the finalist with the more points after the semi-final, he's starting our match. Let's go! Gambas begins this match playing a Sacred Foundry, following it with a Mox Diamond pitching a Plains and playing his commander Koll before passing. Fabio moves to his turn. He plays a Training Center and passes. KK draws. He plays a Mana Confluence, following it with a Kraum pitching an Enlightened Tutor. He tries to play a Dranit's Magistrate, but Fabio is quick on this response having a Force of Will on the ready. He takes 1 and exiles a Veyran for the Force, successfully countering the Dranit. KK ends his turn. Enrique on his turn plays a Sandstone Needle and passes. Gambas on his second turn starts by playing a Spectator Sitting. After some consideration he plays a Storm Rider Rig, ending this turn. Fabio on his main phase plays a River Glide Pathway. He follows it right away with his commander Krark. No one responds and Fabio ships the turn to KK. He draws, plays a Misty Rainforest, loses 1 life to fetch for an Underground Sea and casts a Ristic Study, but Gambas in response plays a Pyroblast to counter it. Since he stepped out, KK passes. Enrique untaps. On his main phase he plays a Badlands, follows it with his commander Anje. It resolves and Enrique passes. Gambas draws. He plays a basic mountain, following it with a Birgi and equips the Storm Rider Rig on it due to his trigger before passing. Fabio moves to his turn. He plays a Mana Confluence and it's his turn to try and cast a Ristic Study for some much needed card advantage. It resolves and he ends his turn. KK draws. He plays a Godless Shrine untapped, followed by his commander Tymna to get some value out of it. Enrique on his turn decides to draw and pass, leaving mana open. Gambas draws. He plays a Mana Confluence and moves straight to combat, sending Birgi at Fabio for 4 damage. Fabio takes it and Gambas passes, imitating Enrique, leaving money open just in case. Fabio begins his turn by playing an Imperial Recruit. It resolves, and Fabio fetches for Dockside to his hand and passes. In his end step, Enrique activates Anje's 4 times, he plays a Shadow of the Grave to return all cards discarded this way, and with it, Enrique activates Anje 8 more times. KK moves to his turn, casts a Cabal Ritual, following it with his commander Kraum, not paying for the Ristic both times and giving 2 draws to Fabio in the process. KK moves to combat afterwards, sending Tymna at Fabio for 2 damage, and Kraum at Enrique for 4 damage. They both take it and on KK's second main phase he draws 2 cards from Tymna's trigger and passes. On KK's end step, Enrique activates Anje, but in response KK plays a Snapback, exiling a Spell Pierce, not paying for the Ristic, stopping Enrique from a possible early win. Enrique goes to his turn. On his main phase he plays a Snow-Covered Swamp, follows it with a Kraum exiling a Demonic Tutor and passes discarding down to 7. Gambas draws, and rushes straight to combat, sending Birgi once again at Fabio for 4 damage, and Koll at Enrique for 2 damage. After damage, Gambas passes. Fabio moves to his turn. He plays a polluted delta, taking 1 damage to fetch for a volcanic island. He plays a Mox Diamond, pitching a flooded strand, and takes a moment. He plays his second commander Sakashima, triggering Kraum, and entering the battlefield as a copy of Krark. He moves to combat, sending both Krark and Imperial Recruiter at KK for 3 damage, passing the turn afterwards. KK draws, and moves straight to combat, sending once again Tymna at Fabio for 2 damage and Krark at Henrique for 4 damage. They both take the damage, and on his second main phase he draws from Tymna's ability. He plays a Flooded Strand, taking 1 damage to fetch for a volcanic island, plays a gamble, paying for the Ristic, and discards a demonic consultation. Not finished yet, KK casts a Toxic Deluge, paying 4 life, this time not paying for the Ristic. Fabio draws and takes the opportunity to play a Flusterstorm, triggering Krark and his clone. Coins were flipped and 3 copies of the Flusterstorm go onto the stack, on top of the original Flusterstorm. So, without a doubt, countering the Toxic Deluge. With that, KK attempts to end his turn, and still at the end step, Henrique casts a Vampiric Tutor. Fabio plays a Mog Savage targeting the Chrome Mox, triggering Kraum and his commanders. Fabio creates 2 more copies of Mog Savage. The first one destroying Henrique's Chrome Mox, the second one destroying Gamba Storm Rider Rig and fizzling this way the original Mog Savage. Henrique moves to his turn. On his main phase, he plays a Jeweled Lodge, not paying for the Ristic. He proceeds to play his commander Anje without paying for the Ristic yet again and triggering Kraum. It resolves and he passes afterwards. Gambas goes to his turn. He plays a Blasting Station, paying for the Ristic. He follows it with a Shield Sphere triggering Kraum and paying for the Ristic. It resolves. Gambas then decides to sacrifice it to the Blasting Station, targeting Sakashima, and passes without noticing that Sakashima was a clone of Krark. Fabio on his turn plays a Wooded Foothills. He moves to combat, sending Krark and the Imperial Recruiter again at KK for 3 damage. On his second main phase, he plays an Harmonic Prodigy and passes. KK moves to his turn. He plays an Ancient Tomb. He moves to combat, sending Kraum at Fabio for 4 damage and Tymna at Henrique for 2 damage. On his second main phase, Tymna triggers and KK draws 2 cards. He plays a Grim Monolith, not paying for the Ristic. He follows it with an Intuition, paying for the Ristic. He fetches for a Silence, an Underworld Breach and a Lead. Henrique chose to give him the Lead and the rest to his graveyard. He plays it without paying for the Ristic and follows it with a Sevin's Reclamation. Fabio sacrifices his Wooded Foothills to fetch for a mountain. He remembers KK about the Ristic and KK lets him draw. Henrique responds with a Deflecting Sword, not paying for the Ristic, to which KK responds immediately with a Miscast, again not paying for the Ristic. Fabio then responds with a Dual Caster Mage to create a copy of the Deflecting Sword. It resolves, so Fabio changes the target of the Sevin's Reclamation to a Flooded Strand, cleaning the stack this way and KK passes. On his end step, Henrique still activates Anje and moves to his turn. He draws. He begins his turn activating Anje 1 time and plays a Scalding Tarn, cracking it, losing 1 life to fetch for a Blood Crypt and tapped before passing. Gambas goes to his turn. He plays an Abrade, paying for the Ristic and triggering Birgi, targeting the Harmonic Prodigy. Fabio responds immediately with a Brightstone Ritual, triggering Krark, its clones and the Harmonic Prodigy. Fabio creates 2 copies of the Brightstone Ritual, adding 4 red mana to his mana pool, and the Harmonic Prodigy gets +1/+1, stopping Gambas from killing it. Gambas then plays Goblin Engineer, triggering Kraum, Birgi and paying for the Ristic. It resolves, so Gambas fetches for a Shuku to his graveyard. After some consideration, Gambas decides to activate Blasting Station, sacrificing Birgi to kill the Harmonic Prodigy. And in response, Fabio once again uses the Brightstone Ritual loop, triggering this time Krark, its clone, the Harmonic Prodigy and Kraum. Once again, coins were flipped, and Fabio creates 1 copy of the ritual and the Harmonic Prodigy gets +1/+1 again, surviving the Blasting Station damage. Gambas decides to pass the turn, but Fabio decides to play safe and repeats the Brightstone Ritual loop 2 more times, making sure Gambas wouldn't kill it later. Fabio draws, plays a Command Tower, follows it with a Mana Crypt and casts a Solve the Equation, triggering Krark, its clone, the Harmonic Prodigy and Kraum. Fabio creates 4 copies, and decides to resolve them 1 at a time. The first one he fetched for a Pact of Negation, the second one for a Heat Shimmer, the third one for a Gamble, the fourth one for a Fierce Guardianship, and the original spell for a Twin Flame. Winner winner chicken dinner. After all this tutoring of unlikely odds, Fabio decides to try and go for the win. He starts by playing Brightstone Ritual, triggering Krark, its clone and the Harmonic Prodigy. Henrique in response casts a Tainted Pact, not paying for the Ristic, to which Fabio responds playing a Pact of Negation, again triggering Krark, its clone and the Harmonic Prodigy, the Traumatic 3 at this point. The first roll he creates a copy of the Pact, countering it the Tainted Pact. The second one he puts the original back in his hand, The third copy bounces back, and the fourth one creates a copy targeting the ritual. Fabio proceeds to resolve the triggers targeting the ritual, adding 4 red mana to his mana pool. He plays a Twin Flame targeting the Harmonic Prodigy, triggering all the dice rolling maniacs, to which Kaká responds with a Pact of Negation, not paying for the heuristic. But Fabio responds with a Fierce Guardianship, again triggering dice rolls. Henrique responds by attempting to dig for something, activating Anje 6 times to maybe find an answer, but no luck. Fabio then starts to resolve the Fierce Guardianship triggers, having the original one bounce to his hand. The second one, he counters the Pact of Negation, and the other 2 triggers also bounce back the spell to his hand. With that out of the way, he starts to resolve the Twin Flame triggers. The first one bounces back the original Twin Flame, and the other 3 creates a copy of the Harmonic Prodigy. He plays a gamble, creating 8 triggers, and 3 of them create copies. The first gamble he fetched for a card, and discards the Heat Shimmer. The second gamble he discards a Mind's Desire, and the last one he discards a Pact of Negation. After that, he plays a Strike It Breach to make some extra mana, and explains the table that he can produce an enormous amount of mana to cast a Twin Flame targeting the Dual Caster Mage, in order to create infinite clones of it to kill everyone. All of his opponents agreed, and since no one had any response, Fabio wins the final match of our tournament. GG. After this long game, way too much dice triggers, and a good showcase why you should always pay your taxes, we finally have a winner for our tournament. Congratulations, Fabio. As always, if you like our content and would like to see more, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can always become a patron for early access to our videos and other rewards. Thank you very much, see you in the next one. We would like to thank the SplitSecond for the partnership, the Monarch team for providing us with the Squirebot to help us run our tournaments, and Arenadvis for providing us the place.